Peace and blessings to the gods. Peace and blessings to the gods. How you feeling, Chief?
Peace and blessings. It's 808s right on the Lions Gate, that 88. You dig? We hitting them from the root chakra to the crown, baby.
I say, man. God, man, once again, I gotta always thank you and give a lot of love and appreciation to you, man, because you really connected worlds. And people might hate on that. I've been hearing a little slick hate and everything. I ain't gonna say no names, but they really mad that you united worlds and different groups and different people. I just got off the phone with some brothers in Africa talking about some they saw you live with Unscrubber Minds and how powerful that live was, and they in Africa talking about this stuff right now. So we'll get on that a little bit later. I named this live today Black August, and of course it's a powerful one because it's of course the Lion Gate portal. All hell Sickmet, all hell that divine energy. So it's most definitely an honor,
Feminine energy.
you know what I'm saying? And after that, I mean, how do you feel about the Lionsgate portal? We're in Black August. You want to explain what Black August is?
Black August was a commemoration created for the Soledad brother George Jackson originally. It also extends to the recognition of political prisoners and freedom fighters that then rose up from our community. You know, Geronimo Pratts, Mutula Shakurs. We are different tribes, but we all have freedom fighters. We had freedom fighters come as entertainers. We had freedom fighters come as poets. We had freedom fighters come as dancers. Because everybody got to try to figure out from a different angle how to attack the enemy that's occupying us successfully in order to overcome. George Jackson, Soledad brother, founder of the BGF, Black Guerrilla Family. Also, he was instrumental in the military strategic thinking of the original Black Panthers out of Oakland. He used to write Huey and Stokely from prison. George Jackson was serving a 1 year to life sentence. It's what they call an illegal sentence in today's law. But at the time George Jackson was sentenced, that was just a way to try to make us submit to their system. And George Jackson was in prison having the same effect as Rod Hayes, but he was in prison with no internet. Right? He was writing letters to Angela Davis, became known as the Soledad letters. Angela Davis to his brother, to his mama, to his pops, right? And so the letters became, I think that's the book that became Blood in My Eye. The quote, blood in my eye, is an old Southern quote from Southern Mississippi culture. But it became made famous after the assassination of George Jackson because they murdered him because the prison guards claim he had a pistol in his afro. But they never produced the pistol. Let that sink in. So they shoot him down on the what they say was a prison escape. We don't know whether to believe their story or not. I'm leaning where I don't believe them. But he had been telling his mama and his dad in letters, they not gonna never let me out here. They will murder me first. And his parents was trying to tell him to don't think like that, you know, pray to Jesus. And he was like, Jesus is not coming to get me out of the custody of these people. Right? So when they finally killed him, his mama, they asked her for an interview. They asked her if she had anything to say about her son getting killed. And she turned and she looked at the reporter and she said, blood in my eye. That was all she said. And she wouldn't explain what it mean or nothing. But before they killed George, they killed Jonathan, his little brother. Right? Jonathan Jackson took over the courtroom doing his work for the community because he was trying to tell us, the ones who don't know what's going on, these courts is a fraud. The only reason why they have any power is because the police. They don't have no power. All of their jurisdiction is contrived, and I'll put my life on the line, and one day somebody gonna find out.
Thanks.
And that's why they killed Jonathan Jackson. Now we gotta remember, they took Angela Davis to trial for aiding and abetting Jonathan Jackson, and she beat the case. So they tell you it was some foul stuff going on the government side of things, right? So the commemoration of Black August was a commemoration of the Soledad brother George Jackson and all freedom fighters that followed that wouldn't bend, fold, or buckle under the weight of the oppressor. They still, if you read, he got 2 books. One is called The Soledad Brother, the other one called Blood in My Eye. The Soledad Brother was like stuff that he would write, like philosophies and opinions of George Jackson, right? But in those letters, you get to see him telling his parents what he's up against, you know, and he got the guerrilla mentality. The guerrilla mentality is, I'm an easygoing guy until you try to take advantage of me. Right? It's a story in one of his writings about, he said, the Muslims came to me and told me, we ain't going to trial, we finna tear this MF up, right? He said, and the Black Liberation Group came to me and said, we ain't going to trial, we about to tear this up. So nobody supposed to be going to trial. He said, I went to the trial hall with dignity and pride on my own without any of the aid of the brothers that was about to fight this dastardly fight. And he said, they caught me coming back from the chow hall. He said, they asked me, hey, brother, what is you doing, man? He say, I fight a revolution way better on a full stomach.
I see. Man, how you feeling about this Malcolm Jamal Warner? He's now an ancestor, also gone in this Black August.
I don't know if we know the Gemini flip of Malcolm Jamal Warner, but we know him as Theo from the Cosby Show. We don't know him as Malcolm named after Malcolm X. We don't know that side of him. Most of us don't. Like, I didn't even know he was into activism all the time he was being active. But he was using theater, right? He was writing poems. They want to know who the voices are, you know, and the dates, the ages. I call it death by numbers. The death by numbers it's always tied to something else, right? The Malcolm Jamal Warner, right, sent me down a rabbit hole, took me to divine insight. Malcolm X sent Rashad Jamal as a Warner. I'm like, where do I get this from out of this man's name? Because it's speaking to me separate from his name. So I go look up Divine Insight again, and I just type it in. I said Rashad Jamal on Malcolm X. I got to put the post up. I didn't go real thorough into the details or everything that I was seeing with it, but it was literally Rashad Jamal was literally giving the discourse about Malcolm X and warning us to heed the words of Malcolm X, or we were going to end up crash dummies, basically. The warning of Malcolm X was the media will have you believing that your worst enemy love you more than anybody else on the planet. Media influence got the mind of the people. I said, okay, if Malcolm send divine insight as a warner, what that got to do with me? Right? Because I can't read it like this if it doesn't have something to do with me. Do you know where he at?
Mm-hmm.
Where he at? Tell the people where he at, because they might think I'm making it up.
Georgia Correctional Facility.
What's the name of the facility?
I can't remember the exact name.
Hayes.
Dang.
So he in Hayes Correctional Facility knocking with Malcolm on a warning for me to get a message. How did Malcolm Jamal Warner die?
They say drowned. They say he drowned.
How did he drown?
I don't have all the information on it. I hear and I don't hear discussions.
Two things. He was attempting to save his daughter, which came out later. It wasn't part of the original story.
Yeah.
All right. And in this process, he got caught in something called a rip current. It's called a rip tide. That's when two tides is coming together, and it creates a effect, right? So it's three different tides at once pulling on you. It's called a rip current or a rip tide, right? Now that took me to wrestling. I said, right, what that got to do with wrestling? The Queen of the South shall rise again has been the slogan of the matriarchs around the world. The Riptide revealed Rhea Ripley. Her finisher is called the Riptide, right? But that's not all. It's predicated up on Malcolm Jamal Warner played Theo in the Cosby Show, but there was a wrestler back in 2019, 2020, who was 7 feet tall, who died trying to save his son. He got caught in a riptide, but he told the rescuers, get my son first, which cost him his life. So now you got Malcolm Jamal Warner, the actor, caught in a riptide, and then you got Shad Gaspar, died caught in a riptide. The first one was trying to save his son. The second one is trying to save his daughter. So it's telling a story, but it's a wrestling story, right? So Rhea Ripley is from Australia. This is telling me the message on the matriarchal line, the South is about to rise.
See.
But then there's another Queen of the South, La Primera, that just showed up. She from Venezuela, South America. So it ain't just the Queen of the South, it's the Queen of the Americas who's rising in the South because we didn't know the South was up and North was down. Right? So when I go to look them up, I look up the plane flight from where Rhea Ripley from in Australia to where La Primera is from in Venezuela. And the flight pattern makes a smiley face. The smiley face is the confirmation of the spirit knocks that I'm getting through Death by Numbers, arts and entertainment, and simulated fight combat. Right? So it's more to it than that. But I was being lazy and didn't want to do all of the deep dive into it. Because at this point, if you don't get it, I can't give it to you.
I shall say.
We are heralding the rise of the divine feminine, the restoration of the grand matriarchs across the land. It's more than one matriarch on the land. It's not just one. It's more than one matriarch around the world. It's not just one. There's a network.
I see.
Women don't operate like men where it got to be just one at the top. The matriarchal order is different from the patriarchal structure. Patriarchy has to always push somebody to the forefront, following something called the Peter principle. In the matriarchy, you can't be pushed to the forefront unless you qualify to fulfill the function that the matriarchy need fulfilled. In other words, if you can't fix it, get the hell out the way and let the fixer come fix it. This the difference in how patriarchy does. Patriarchy sets you up. If you're not founded in rugged individualism, you destined for failure because you're not going to look for no help. You're not going to accept no help to your own detriment because you're trying to man up. But a wise general say every part of the military has its purpose.
I see.
I'm not sending the cavalry when I should be sending the snipers. Right? I'm not sending the snipers when I should have been sending the cavalry. I don't know how to use my resources. So the matriarchal order says the person who's most qualified for the job, whether it's picking flowers in the backyard, whether it's driving grandma back and forth to market, the most qualified for the job at the time hold the function.
Sure.
Until a more qualified individual comes along, or the person holding the function, if you don't want it, should train somebody else to fulfill the purpose so that a competent person inherits the leadership in that area. Just because you're the leader of the political government don't mean you're going to be the leader of the military.
Thanks.
Just because you're the leader of the military don't mean you're going to be in charge of farming and resources. If you look at what the corporation did, the corporation funneled it all back to one man, the CEO, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the United States of America, aka the president. Right? When they did that, it broke the proper structure of the matriarchal order that was pre-established. When they got here, it was running. We didn't have prisons because we ain't need them. We ain't have police because we ain't need them. We knew how to handle our own affairs and we knew how to deal with each other because we knew who we were before these interlopers came in.
I see.
Looking like us, but talking like the devil.
Thanks.
Smooth talking jive talkers. That's talking jive real smooth to convince you to believe that somebody other than you gonna die for your sins. Sins have nothing to do with your mortality or your immortality. All it have anything to do with is whether you part of the ones who take part in the sin right or you not part of them. But you don't even know what the sin right is. This is where the problem come in because they've been telling us in the church the whole time we sinners. We born sinners. We wasn't sinners until we took communion. Right? The only reason we was born into sin is because our parents was taking communion at church. And they was praying saying amen at church. Those are sin rights. Sin is not an act. Sin is a noun. It's somebody's name. Just like hell, it's somebody's name. They got us believing it's a place. If you go back and you research Greek mythology and Egyptology, hell is reference to Hela, the mother of Greece, also referred to as Helen. The EN mean that she had mastered something to become Lord, but this was in the feminine, so it came at the end instead of the beginning of the name. Right? So Hela, when she got her title, her godship title, she became Lord Helen or Helen. Hela, the Lord. All of this stuff in modern English have been scrambled eggs to confuse the minds of the people that know this stuff in their genetic memory, but they being told to access it out of order. So you read the scrolls of Malachi, he said, I'm not worried about the story itself. I'm worried about y'all getting the order right. Who did what, and at what point did they do it? They got y'all believing the story all wrong. And when you go trace it back, it's all based out of Babylon. Judaism, Christianity, and Islam all spring from the Talmud and the Mishnah. If anybody that tell you they God picked 12 tribes over somebody and didn't have a home for them, is making it up.
The God of the devil.
Because the concept comes from the 12 daughters of Isis, sometimes referred to as the 12 sisters of Isis. Isis' seat is the 13th, which is referred to as sacerdotal seat, earth ruler seat. The papal seat of the Pope is the usurpation. That's why his seat is under Big Mama's seat. He's usurping the matriarchal right to rule the planet, because Earth is a feminine planet and it's supposed to be ruled by the divine feminine. So if we don't know this, then we gonna believe that God gonna come back surfing on the cloud with a Philharmonic orchestra behind him, with his waving locks of blonde hair blowing in the wind as he plays his harp, coming to save the lost souls. Why? How they get lost? What make them lost? Right? And then the first thing the Christians say is they lost in sin. Where that nigga at? Sin is the son of Enlil, who they call Yahweh. And Yahweh is the Bible God. But sin, his son, is the devil. All of them blood rites, when they smearing in the blood, all that, those are sin rites. Yeah. I catch you later. Yep, those are sin rites. The major three sin rites is Babylonian blood magic, Babylonian sex magic, and Babylonian money magic. But the sin rites is for a purpose, right? It's for a military trilateral attack from a spiritual perspective. If you attack them spiritually and they don't enact their spiritual ancestors to protect them, they have no defense. This is why they refer to them as sheep, defenseless sheep, because you don't know you under attack, and they didn't convince you that this Bible God that they fed you, that they what made a composite of a group of gods into one God. And this one God loved you so much, he had his son get murdered by people just like you. And when they murdered his son, he said, oh, that's all right. I'm God. That's just my son. Y'all can't do nothing to hurt him. This is the story they're giving us, but they took it from somewhere else. And that's not what the original story say. The original story is in something called the Osirian resurrection. The first resurrection story recorded on planet Earth. Why do we even need a resurrection story? The resurrection story was written in the hieroglyphs for a reason, right? Referred to also as the Holy Drama. It's telling you stellar time, the cycles, the flow and the ebb, which we call the two pillars, because you oscillate between the two pillars, the flow and the ebb. It's telling you about the opposites, which is another two pillars. It's telling you about frequency, how often the thing happened, right? Then when you step back and look at it, you can actually see what's called wavelength. How long is the wave on this frequency? You measure the wave from peak to peak, right? We realize that by teaching the science in this way, using symbolism, using the stones, using the runes, the I Ching, the tarot, these are training tools to wake you back up so you can reorganize the story and put everything in its proper place.
I'm sure.
We gotta remember, the New Testament was not written in Paleo Hebrew. It wasn't written in Arabic, none. It was written in Greek. That means its point of origin is not the Middle East at all. That's the first thing we got to understand. It was not written in what's called a Semitic language. It was written in the first Indo-European language called Greek. The second one's called Latin. The Greek priestesses was usurped, and Helen gets switched out and turned into a man in Rome. If you go back to that movie Ragnarok, the very first scene when Thor and Loki's sister come through the portal and they say, "Hello, Hela." Now notice that she's dressed in all black. She's also Lilith, right? The Jesus story don't got nothing to do with no man. So they painted the gender swap to tell us that Isis is a man named Jesus. We know that can't be true because the person that gave us Jesus was a male homosexual that wished he was a woman. King James himself. But we don't know none of that stuff. We don't know who King James was. We don't know the history of King James. We don't know the authorization of the writing of the Book of Demon Knowledge. We don't know none of that about that. So since we don't know that, that can't be part of our math in trying to decipher what's going on. Get it?
No, most definitely.
If it's not part of the math, you can't adjust for it. Everything is part of the equation.
I see.
Just because you don't see it, that means you just can't add it right now. You haven't seen it yet.
Thanks.
Nobody never told you yet. And how do you know you need to add it to the equation? As soon as you realize a cognitive dissonance. I don't call it cognitive dissonance when I'm talking to us in the hood. I say the what the fuck effect. Right? Because the first thing you say is, what the fuck you get that from? Right? I ain't never heard that before. Who told you that and where did you get it from? Oh man, you ain't never heard of, and then it leads into a conversation of discovery. I'm not the person to tell somebody they don't know what they're talking about, and I don't know what they're talking about. I gotta first understand what they're saying.
Thanks.
Before I can tell them, you don't even know what the fuck you talking about. I can't tell them that in good faith, and I ain't ask them no questions to understand where they coming from. But some people you can read like an open book, especially ones with PhDs, associate's degrees, and bachelors, because they lead with the paperwork. Oh, brother can't tell me nothing. I got a master's degree from Harvard. I went to HBCUs all my whole college life. Right? You can't tell them nothing. But you got exceptions to the rule. They gonna tell you what the idiot think he's saying, and you gonna understand the exception better than you did the fool of the rule. So that's like, I got a cousin pledged in college. And me and him can talk a metaphysical conversation just like we have, like me and you sit down and chop it up. And he don't miss a beat. And all he be doing is laugh because he be like, cuz, man, how you know all that? Right? Because while I was locked up, he was in academia. He ain't know I was in Platinum Back University.
Some straight shuttle vault.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick,
I told him one day, I said, you wasn't the only one at university. Mine was just university penitentiary.
Hard Knock Life.
Yeah.
Yo, I had a real powerful message, man, cause I don't be entertaining a little hate or whatever. But real quick, man, just to let you know, I'm reading a message that a great chief on his land sent to us, and it was a beautiful message. She said we must acknowledge and protect elder matriarch energies to help identify and guide young women elders, and that came from Mama Callie. And then she's a big chief in the land. You see what I'm saying? Mama Boomy and Temba, those big, I mean, they some big chiefs on the land. Legacy, Light Feather, Dope Enough, Rebel Divine, and I want to keep supporting like also Unscrambled Minds. I love their channel, what they putting down. And somebody in Africa hit me up today, and we have ambassadors all in Africa, right? And the ambassador said, "Yo, let them know that there's ignorant people everywhere, right? We got crazy people on a Friday night, on a manifestation night, that act like they don't like you, but they took their time on a Friday night that could be doing anything in the universe to come here and stare in your face and text. Likewise, you got people that say ignorant stuff all the time, and the people in Africa was like, no, that's not us. These are the same thing that we would call boulets. These are the ones that had a little money and came over here with their own mind frame. But there's people over there trying to do real business with us. They want to see us economically on top, the same way they trying to get on top. And people make it, there's a whole thing going on to keep everybody divided and disrespectful and everything. So I just had to give a shout out to all those matriarchs, like you said, and understanding that like you said, there's big mamas everywhere, and they watching, and they most definitely watching. You had a lot of people. I'm gonna show love to the people that show love to us, man. All that dumb stuff, people. You came here on a Friday night to hate. That's crazy. Everybody's saying hello to the chief, man. I'm trying to see if I miss any questions real quick. I don't want to get too far. Shout out Women Make Heaven. That's a real thing. Peace. Cancer 25, peace. He back. I was just watching part 2 with him and the Sister Freedom. Most definitely. That was a great show, man. That's a classic show. So I'm about to get back to it. I just want to show love to everybody that show love to us, man. We skip all over the haters, bro. Also, man, you want to touch on the Black Madonna. We've been on the matriarch thing for a minute now, and we're trying to push this matriarch thing for a minute now. Can you break down the Black Madonna for me?
Shout out to brother Albert Cleage. Had the bookstore Shrine to Black Madonna. He had one in Detroit, one in Houston.
It's still in, ain't it?
The one in Detroit is closed. As far as the last time I knew, it had closed down. But it had a group of people that used to meet at this place called Arkantundes that was trying to mobilize resources to keep the bookstore, because it's not only a bookstore, it's a historical relic. Okay, so the origin story to the Black Madonna is the birth of the child Horus. The word Madonna means mama's daughter, right? And Ma is the name that more of us call our mothers as toddlers than anything else. Before we call her mama, we call her Ma, right? Donna means the young maiden, but it's in reference to the daughter of the mother, the first heir, which the first heir is going to be Sekhmet.
Oh, hell, Sekhmet? I see.
No, that's wrong. It's Hathor, Heru. She's the first heir. Hathor is the second heir, but she's the heir by marriage. Heru has the same familial rank as Heru, right? Only his goal is to figure out how to take the fool's journey to become the hero's journey in order to assume the Osiris seat and no longer be Heru, but now he's Osiris. The son has become the father. So when you see the statues of the Black Madonna, that is the notice that a son is born and a son is given by the mother, not by the father. But she don't give him up to be sacrificed by crucifixion. She takes him under her wing as the master mason to mold the heir apparent to become the successful crown prince that will inherit the throne as the king. So this is where you see in mysticism, it's a book called At the Feet of the Master. But when you go back and look in ancient paintings, all of the baby at the feet of the master is sitting in front of a mama, right? So at the feet of the master means at the feet of the mother, right? That's why when they make reference to the son, they always say that he was hewn without the hands of man. That means he was molded in his life choices by the wisdom of his mother and not by the intellectual prowess of his father. The goal is to create a son that will rule in harmony and balance, as opposed to raising a despot that's going to rule by oppression and force. Well, that nigga just lost his reign because he thought oppression and force could last forever until somebody come along and say, no, this ain't lasting no more. That's enough is enough. So the Black Madonna is a critical symbol, right? And you find it all over Europe. You find it all over Asia, the Americas. You find it all over Africa. It's always the mother and the child, right? And this is because, yep, yep, there you go. It's the same story. It's the holy drama. The holy drama for the one who awakens the royal DNA becomes a roadmap to ascend to the throne. All he got to do is learn from all of the, because, you know, a damn fool never learn, right? And the smart man learns quickly from his mistake. But the wise man learns from his mistakes and the mistakes of others.
Gospel of Barnabas.
You did?
Yeah, yeah.
So if the wise man learned from the mistakes of others, that means he had to study great people if he aspired to greatness.
Sure.
Right? People that discuss what greatness is defines greatness for him to incorporate it into his personal system of self-development to become a self-raised master. Because when mama gone, he on his own. Right? And so he got to be man enough to stand on his own 2 feet. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. That's what my mama used to always tell me. Well, if I tell you I'm not coming, you can ask me 400 times. I done already told you once. I ain't coming. We can try everything in the world to try to get me there. All hell gonna break loose because I already told you I wasn't coming. So it became so normal that I don't even got to stand on it no more. The universe stand on it for me.
I see. Frequency. So
Which also takes us to the Black Rock too.
yep. You know that was on there. Now, when you say Black Rock, what do you mean Black Rock? Are we talking about the physical Black Rock? Are we talking about the organization Black Rock? What are we talking about?
It's all related.
Okay.
First, you find the story of the Black Rock in the Book of Daniel. It says, from out of the side of the mountain, which means a nation of people, there was one hewn without the hands of a man. Right? Remember we just went over the mother molded the son, not the father. Right? And from this stone, it rolled down the side of the mountain, which means it rolled to the bottom of the people in this social structure and struck the feet of iron and clay and brought the whole Babylonian empire tumbling down. Now remember, it started off with a head of gold, but it had a feet of iron and clay. But the stone was hewn from the side of a mountain, commonly referred to in biblical jargon as congregation of the people. Right? Now, when you get to the New Testament, you find the phrase when they're making reference to the son, Emmanuel, not the mother, who they calling Jesus as Isis. Just talking about the son. When they say the stone that the builders have rejected have now become the chief cornerstone. Just tell me this is all a Masonic ritual now. These are Masonic rites, whether you call it Jesus, God, Bible, whatever you want to call it, Yahweh, Tetragrammaton. This is when they told you that the stone the builders rejected has become the chief cornerstone in that book. And then the book is broke down in chapters and verses. Why? Because the chapters and verses is how Masons teach by stage and degree. And if you pay attention, I can help you see shit I'm giving you game. So they go into the mind and they give you these books, but they scrambled eggs. So you have master Masons that defected from Masonry saying that the lower Masons never get the true meaning of Masonry because they in the wrong place. Those are what you call speculative Masons. They pontificating and speculating over academic jargon, right? While the real Mason, the Blackstone, is at the feet of the wise women. All of the mothers raised one. All of the mothers raised one. So they got to get rid of them, as many as possible, so they can limit the possibilities of success. This would make it a chess game. Right? Because they pieces is smoke gray, our pieces is black. But if you don't see them side by side, both pieces look black. They look like us, but they ain't us. The white pieces is the Decepticons. They there to draw your attention in a grand illusion, so you never see who the real players is that's pushing the pieces that ain't on the board.
I see him.
Right? But they give you all of the clues on how to find it. So you see this organization, BlackRock. It's not the only one. It's three of them, actually, main ones. The three main ones, BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. They all represent Masonic identifications of a personal account of the three highest chiefs on the land. It's not a mistake that State Street started in Chicago. And there was no such thing as the Vanguard Investment Group until after the New Panther Vanguard was established. The only one that has been around since the 80s, the oldest one, is BlackRock. Right? But now, if you look at their operational strategies, right, who do they always hire? The best. BlackRock put Larry Fink as the CEO because of his ability to manage assets. He's not a bankruptcy CEO, so they couldn't put him there. Trump is a bankruptcy CEO. How do we know this? Because he's the most successful, most bankrupt billionaire in America. So he becomes your liquidator in chief, but he can't liquidate Vanguard. He can't liquidate BlackRock. He can't liquidate State Street. That has to be claimed. That's why nobody owns it, because nobody knew how to claim it.
And BlackRock owns everything. They got their hands in everything, like several things. You can't go to AutoZone. Look behind the screen and you'll see ours, like for real.
So if you remember what Jordan Maxwell say, he said BlackRock has more money than God. So now nobody never told us, the discussion about new money, old money, right? What about ancient money? Who got the pharaoh money? Who got the emperor Jing Zhao? Who got his money?
Instead of old money.
That ain't old money. We talking ancient money. So if the world was a major business, do we even know who the CEO of the corporation is called Earth? It's always going to trace back to one, or one's going to always claim it. The wealth, follow the money. Everybody thought that the highest economic power in the world was the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. They ain't the most powerful. If you go to the Philippines, you have this group called the White Dragon Society. The White Dragon Society is the banker to all of the ancient accounts. Oh, you can't get your inheritance until you figure out who you is.
That's crazy, OG. You know where Lungapo is?
Well, who?
Lungapo?
Not directly.
It's a little island out there. It's crazy. I'll tell you about it later, but it's crazy that you just said all that. Keep going. My bad. It just you were saying stuff. Yeah, keep going though.
The White Dragon Society is also heavily associated with the ancient triads. Right? They was the top three families was the Golden Dragon, the White Dragon, and the Red Dragon. Anu, Enlil, and Inanna. If you talk about the pantheon that came to hold those titles. So when you go to Japan, you find that up at the highest peaks of the mountains live a group of people called the Anu, the golden ones, them the Golden Dragon clan, right? Then you don't see none of the rest of them. The only way you can tell them is if they take off their clothes and you read their body art. Then you're gonna know Black Dragon Clan because they got like 10 dragon clans, different colors.
Respect to the Monte.
Yeah. Blue Dragon Clan, Black Dragon Clan, Green Dragon Clan. The Jade Dragon is what it's called. But they all got different functions. When we talk about the finance, it's the White Dragon Clan.
Yo, I want to catch some of these. I don't want to get too far away from these comments because, like I said, it's a lot of people showing love, and we want to show love back. Real quick, Divine Roro, I believe 333. Shout out to you, K. I say Bay. Appreciate the love. Indiana God 7. K. I say Bay. Say, what about ancient money, ancient coins? Most definitely shout out Archangel, free Malachi York, free all the Chiefs, free Rasheed Jamal, free Larry Hoover. Let me see. This is a good comment real quick. Somebody said black diamonds embody prima materia. I might be saying it wrong. ERIA. Raw carbon holding God's full potential, gold's full potential, awaiting transformation through time, pressure, and precious alchemy operations into perfected form of the stone that sun.
So the story he's telling is how you get from liquid carbon to a diamond.
Yeah.
The liquid carbon is the infinite potential, the prima matter, the prime matter, the mother at the root of it all, the dark mother, the black Madonna.
Black Madonna.
And then over time, it begins to solidify. Now we're talking going from undifferentiated potential to defined creative force. So as the divine creative force begin to create, the time, the temperature, and the pressure is turning it in from oil to coal. As coal, it's just carbon. It's still got a lot of potential, but the coal is the black stone. But the stone has to have time, temperature, and pressure in order to become the purified diamond. Right? And purification don't always make them white. Those are the rarest of the diamonds.
What? White diamonds?
Yep.
No, they're not the rarest. Red.
What's more? The red? Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Those are more newly discovered. Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah. But you got purple diamonds. You got the black diamonds. You got green diamonds that come out of the earth that way. And it'll just tell you what type of carbon they made out of. Yeah, but that's what that whole process is.
Another we had a couple more questions I want to get to for you. Shout out Jaguar, Mercury Collective, shout out Supreme Consciousness, appreciation. Thank y'all for your support, man. Please, man, I pinned OG Cash App up. If you want to show him love, follow, subscribe, show him love, you know what I'm saying? Brother Polar Camel said, talk about the war between Satan. I think that's you versus Lucifer. I'm not sure. It just says Y versus Lucifer. Enlightenment, freedom, and restriction, please. My question. Time, temp, pressure, most definitely diamonds. The rod and staff at work. They comfort that. Man, shout out to every minute, man. Thank y'all for showing love. Thank y'all for popping out. We're gonna keep on trying to do amazing things and put good things out in the ethers. It's the Lionsgate portal. With all the distractions out right now, they try to distract you with all the nonsense in the news. We got to stand empower and not confusion. So, yeah, Chief. I wanted to ask you, man. We in the Lionsgate portal. What you know about Hannibal?
Hannibal Carthage, the greatest general that ever lived.
Yes, sir.
What you want to know about him?
Man.
Look, Hannibal would have crushed Rome once and for all. But there was this senator, a Carthaginian, so they say, that was paying people off and blackmailing people in the Carthaginian Senate to withhold resources from Hannibal. He needed one more incursion into Rome, and he would have defeated the Romans way back then. When he found out he got betrayed from the homeland, he went into exile and he joined forces with some people from the Far East that was still fighting Rome and became an advisor in retirement. We don't know how long he lived. But he's the greatest military strategist according to military standards to this day. There's only one thing he didn't calculate for: internal betrayal.
I see.
He didn't have a remedy for that, right? Because it hadn't happened yet. Or so it didn't look like it had happened yet, right? But yeah, Hannibal was the greatest. All of the great generals after that studied Hannibal. Even the guy that they raised, Scipio Africanus, was raised by his father, Leo. And Scipio was fed Hannibal from a baby. Everything Hannibal did, his father ran it by him, relentlessly drilling him on Hannibal's moves. Because he said by the time he get grown, he'll be the only one able to defeat him. So based off the way that Rome was moving against Hannibal, that was one of their strategies when they realized that the only way you was going to stop the greatest of all time is from an internal source. You got to use one of his own against him, at least somebody that look like them. He ain't got to be them, but he can look like them.
I love Hannibal Energy one because right now the name of the game, and we still falling for that Roman trick, is to divide everybody. But back then, Hannibal took it upon himself to go unite with all tribes and all nations, even tribes and clans that were initially beefing against each other. He went and made blood pacts, you know what I'm saying, with these different tribes to make sure that they could beat Rome. And that's another thing, man. I just got to ask this crazy question. Why? Like, what kind of parasitic entity is Rome that where they see it, if they got it so great where they at, why do they always got to go conquer? What makes you, what gives you the drive to say, hey, let me go over here and conquer something that you ain't got no part of? Like, even to this day, you see the same bloodline of them people, they're gonna be in your business no matter what you do. People be mad to myself, they're making their own towns. Good, we need to make our own towns. Like, we talking about making crystal cities. Me and my brother talking about making free magnetic homes and things of that nature, tuning into the earth. So it's like, yo, I just got to figure out like what gave them the power, what gave them the authority to try to go out and conquer everything.
One word: entitlement. They feel like they deserve everything and you don't deserve nothing, even if you did build it. They entitled to the works of your labor, the fruits of your labor.
That got to be some kind of disease or something like that. It's just deeper.
It is.
Some kind of evil spirit. Like, think about these people will come up, wake up and say, let's go conquer them because they got some shit we ain't got. And the first thing we're going to do, because they know they soft, they know they'll conquer something through disease. They'll conquer something through warfare, like a spiritual warfare. They just talked about how they're sending jinns to control people. And people's not even realizing the murder rate right now. Most of the murder rate is people killing their own family. And they're not understanding why. These obsidian phones are sending programs, jinns or things to our mind, telling us to do these crazy ass things. You see what I'm saying? This is like you said, the what war you always be talking about, man? The conjure wars. And people think they stop, but like you said, old money, a lot of these people still using those old spells or whatnot. These people are going crazy and not understanding what's really going on. Like, this is some real evil shit that we should fight against, and fight against that whole Roman dollar or the dollar that they got us. Like, we got to get back into our real tribal thing. And we always talk about tribe. Everybody always talk about tribe, but we really got to get back into living tribe. You know what I'm saying? Building our communities and networking within each other. And again, I got to give you a lot of shout outs. You got a lot of haters out here that give you them slide undermining compliments or backhanded compliments, where they'll say one thing about you, but the whole time they want to be like you. They talking about some, oh, he got worshipers. I ain't gonna say no name, but they say he got worship. He got. But they mad that you got a network of chiefs and people that's really doing things and want to come together. You connected God's in a way. You know what I'm saying? You connect the worlds. But like I said, you got to realize I would have never heard of Unscrambled Minds until you came on a show, and vice versa with a lot of different people. You connect a lot of different tribes and people. We network and build that way. You know what I'm saying? You're making us more powerful. Meanwhile, the people that are hating on you on the slit side, they want to be like that. They want to dress up and want to call their flock and want to dress up and put the yarmulke on and go stand on stone mountains or whatever they want to do. But they want to be like that, but it's generic. So just, you know what I'm saying? Big shout out to you, man, for connecting dots and not never being on no fake shit. You know what I'm saying?
Look, I don't care about what people say about me. Sometimes people that defend you, they haven't had a conversation, right, with you, can prematurely attack somebody on your behalf because they don't know what your relationship is, right? But at the end of the game, because it's all a game, at the end of the game, when you see what was taking place, you were like, oh, that's the part I missed right there. I didn't see that. And a lot of times people are sent to deliberately hate to give traction to what's being done. You got people I ain't never seen before talking about, I spent my whole day doing conjure work in their mirror, watching them take showers in the bathroom. First and foremost, listen, seriously, first and foremost, I don't want to watch no motherfucker take no shower. So obviously, whatever they going through, the paranoia that they internalizing has nothing to do with me, but everything to do with their perception of me. The fear that I might be able to see and judge what they doing got their mind playing tricks on them as if I'm watching them. Nobody's watching you but you, because you're your own judge. And your judgment is going to come in the form of your condemnation of others. Because you're going to condemn people for stuff that they don't deserve to be condemned for, and you might be doing the same thing and don't even know it. So when people start saying stuff, like this guy, he put a whole debunking Ryan Hayes video out talking about me and my people doing surveillance on him. First of all, who the fuck is you? Why would I even be interested in you, piece of trash, $5, $2, $3 nigga? I have no interest in nothing he doing. Now, if that would have been Donald Trump or Vladimir Putin or somebody with some real appearing to have some stroke, I probably would have been remote viewing them if I didn't have be able to read what I seen on the surface. But some little Rudy Poot that live in some little backwood hick town that I don't know nothing about, why would I care what you doing? Your concern for my care is worse than how much I actually do. Because soon as you find out I don't really give a F, your whole life will change for the better. But in Stoic philosophy, the obstacle is the way. Sometimes what look like haters be helpers in disguise.
I see.
So don't always believe that a person is hating. They just struck your emotions because you protective. They're your people.
Get on the elephants. Let's just get on these elephants and complete the elephant. He said, Jaguar said, let's just get on the elephants and complete Hannibal's mission. I say, they not like us. The nigger porn that look like us go as far as to eat us. They live in the cave system under Switzerland, supreme consciousness.
They doing tours of the cave they used to live in under the Swiss Alps.
Not to cut you off, we got 444. I thought that was amazing. Right now, we got 444 in here. Y'all keep going though.
Yeah. So most of them are gone. Most of them is gone. Whether they was executed or whether they was just shipped off the planet, I can't tell you, but they ain't here no more. Because they doing tours in the underground tunnel system they was living in the Swiss Alps now, letting you see what it looked like. So if you want to know what it looked like, go on YouTube and say Swiss Alps underground city, and it's going to be showing. It ain't going to show you the juicy stuff though. It's still only showing you like the watered down parts of it where you don't know the big opulent cathedrals they was having blood drinking parties and stuff. They're not going to show you that part.
Somebody
but you
said,
will get to see.
Jay Ward said the matriarch energy, aka the elephants that clear the path for Hannibal. Let's just finish the Hannibal. They send out negative vibration in our monkey mind system. Be careful sending out negative energy. Right now we're in 808. People don't quite understand what 808 represents. It's a loop. If you send negative energy out, be careful because it's coming right back full time. Like if you right now we're putting positive energy out, we put matriarch energy out, we putting love energy out, we putting trying to each one teach one energy. So if you send some crazy stuff, it's the boomerang, and that's something I just realized about the boomerang. The boomerang has it's a spiritual tool. Did you know that?
Well, it's always been spiritual to the Aussies who've been using them for thousands of years. They tell stories. They used to carve stories into the boomerang, spiritual stories.
Yeah, the boomerang, the ones that violated the first mothers, they sent the boomerang out and it returned and killed the deity that attacked the first mother. This is ancient folklore talking about the matriarch and the war on the matriarch. The gender wars, like my brother Women Make Heaven always talks about the gender wars. War shippers, yeah, right. Real recognized real chief is a real one. Few far in between, I say. I saw that. He said he saw that. Yeah, we all saw it. Thank y'all for the love. Spider Woman, I say thank you for the love. I'm just trying to make sure I don't miss some of these questions. Whoever said that, is it funny? No, nobody trying to see you. No, man, a lot of people got mental health problems too, and they got access to cell phones. Trust and believe. We've ran into a bunch of that agents, etc. Let's talk about conquering this time spell. I like that one. The vital thread said, let's talk about conquering this time spell. Since we talking about bonus, since we're talking about being in this loop, they're talking about being in, breaking the time spell. I like that. Like, how we gonna manifest to break out this time spell? You hear me, Chief?
You got to see it to achieve it.
I see.
If you still worried about what somebody else doing, or if somebody gonna oppress you, your oppressor coming, because you calling them. If you start seeing your life as prosperous and all of this wickedness being swept away, the more of us can see it, the more likely it is to manifest, and the faster. The more of us do it, the faster.
Yo, they're asking amazing questions. I can't let this just slide by. Plus, is a brother that say he fall up under that Coco Pele 314. What is Rod take on the craft that's supposed to be arriving soon? The one that they talking about, like more and more.
There's more than one. One's supposed to get here in October, one supposed to get here in November, and I think it's a third one supposed to get here in September. Then that don't got nothing to do with the ones that just was seen in Hawaii, I think it was, or none of the solar ships that's been disembarking with the solar eruptions parking around the sun. So it's a whole lot going on. I don't like talking about it because we so focused on the stars, we ain't worried about Earth.
It's a lot of instructions. It's a lot of instructions. It is what it is. Channel Harmony, Matriarch. We appreciate you too. You always showing love and support. Appreciate you too. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna give a giveaway today too, man. If y'all could like, subscribe, comment, I'm gonna give a free piece away. Don't believe the comma. Shout out to Australia. Shout out to New Zealand. Someone said they're in here from New Zealand. We be having people in here from Australia all the time. That's amazing. Like that's crazy. I'm telling you, like somebody from Africa hit me up and they were like, yo, brother, that's not all of us. They have their own version of boulets that come over here. Like when I was at the Bronze Kingdom, I was around this beautiful, beautiful black Nigerian girl. So I'm talking to her and we're around all these artifacts. And she said, she don't mess with none of that. She just here for the job. So I'm like, I didn't comprehend what she meant. And she was like, I'm glad that what them Europeans did. I'm glad that they did to us. You see what I'm saying? And because in her mind, they were civilized. And we don't understand all the tribal things they got going on and wars and all sorts of different things. Like they look at the white man as a savior. And that's our biggest divide with them. But it's a lot of them that still show love too, though. What you were saying, G?
Oh, I want to say I was listening to you.
The angles that make up the boomerang are as important. I'll say it's almost like the signature.
Well, if it's the wrong angle, it ain't gonna come back.
Yeah, I say just like
You got to be made exactly at the right angle, the right pitch.
If you're looking at the spiritual aspect, what's that 4 percentage? The 5% spiritual and 4% physical on the Masonic compass and
square.
And compass is square. 144 likes as I entered the chat. Nice, I say, Miss Libra. How does the light shine through your prism? That's a dope question. How does the light shine through your prism?
Mine is convergent. Most people's are divergent. They go out into the different. Mind absorbs the different wavelengths and solidifies them into a single link, a single beam of light.
Supreme consciousness went hard. She said, or he said, the God said, take your ball and go home. That breaks the time spell. Stop playing the game with these people.
That's the coldest game right there. I've been saying that. I
So-
said that 5 years ago. People thought I was crazy. What you mean take your ball and go home? Quit participating. If you deny them your participation, who they gonna be at war with? You know, they tell you to meet us on the battlefield. That means come protest. And we don't show up. Look, Stone, I was telling Sister Freedom the other day, I was like, I don't have to boycott nobody. You know why? If you don't treat me right, you ain't getting my money in the first damn place.
Who mess with you, bro?
I don't care where you from.
Yep.
You could be my cousin, my auntie. If you don't treat me right, I'm not finna give you my money, my time, my energy, my effort. And half the time, I be looking for a fuck to give.
Why do people want to be like they want to be involved? The world is vast. The world is vast, and we got so many amazing things that you could be doing instead of going somewhere where you're not wanted. Go where you're celebrated, not tolerated. The world is so vast and beautiful. Where, like I said, collective, where you can find somebody where you can go meditate with, where you can go vibe with, where you go chill with, where you go enjoy nature with, where you can enjoy your art with. So I don't see why people want to. Oh, they're making their own town. Good. That's less motherfuckers I got to worry about being around me. Or I don't care what nobody got going on as long as stay out my way. Women Make Heaven says, I heard him mention Hathor. Ask him what he knows about the Hathor temple.
Yes, it's all up there at the Hathor temple in Arizona.
In Arizona, I say.
You got an Isis temple, Osiris temple, a Buddha temple.
Somebody said, are you familiar with Madame Blavatsky?
That's my baby there. Madam H.P. Blavatsky, the founder of the Theosophical Society, her most prominent works being Isis Unveiled and The Secret Doctrine. Some of the best reading I ever got.
Let me write that down so I can do the research on it myself.
Ooh, there's some heavy reads, boy. You got to be focused to read them, though.
Guess what? I love it. I love it. Like I say, you connecting minds. This is cerebral. Now it's connecting. They're giving us clues. They're giving somebody in the comment like that's each one teach one. We all connecting each other. They also asked, in the land of Mu.
Some of her greatest students became prominent on their own, like Rudolf Steiner, Annie Besant. They became excellent teachers on their own. Rudolf Steiner got some of the coldest stuff you want to read. And he go into a lot of different topics on metaphysical stuff. You gotta remember then the Thule Society that Adolf Hitler was part of, they were heavily into the research of the writings of Madame Blavatsky. So she is a very powerful Russian lady. And the picture that they be showing us, she looked like that, but she ain't that light. I'm gonna let that sink in. They got pictures with her with these three Mahatmas, an actual picture, and she is no ways as light as they paint her to be in later years. I wonder why.
Sure, I see. The brother said, hello, brothers, Rod and Stone. Can you go in a little about Canada and the U.S. trade talks? Thank you. Akati,
all that smoke and mirrors. Canada and U.S. trade talk is smoke and mirrors. The border between Canada and the United States, because they got the same QSIP number. They're the same corporation. When you get rid of the corporation, the military part of it in America, you also get rid of the political part in Canada. That's what Queen Diallo is doing up there. You know, so you got different people doing different stuff on different parts of the land, but we all moving in the same direction. And all of them don't look like us, because in some of the places, the people that look like us was too intimidated to do the work. You let them crackers kill me.
Let me see. I'm trying to get all these questions. So you said giveaway, yes. Just like my bronze lion bracelet, I wanted to give one away to the universe. We'll figure out how I do this later on. Just for all the love that everybody's been showing. This is brass. This comes from Africa, from the Ashe Network. He gave me a couple of different things or whatever. I love it. He gave me the ring, the match, and everything else. I had an extra one, wanted to put it in the universe, show some love. Lionsgate Portal. We need another Seven Beaumont Rod Hayes lecture. Yeah, Seven Beaumont he is amazing. I'm a big fan of the Overmind. They said they want to get you another Seven Beaumont Rod Hayes lecture.
Yeah, 7 know exactly what I be talking about.
Yeah, y'all on the same type time. Right.
Look,
They.
I hadn't, you the one told me about him first, right? So when I got a chance to do a live with him, I was like, heck yeah, I want to see what he talking about. So we get to chopping it up. And then I'm saying stuff, he pulling up the receipts.
Yeah, no, man. What's funny is I told you your cousin was the one that actually like brought me into the fold. Like somebody in the comments said, shout out to Mississippi. And it's crazy because in certain places where you don't have the knowledge, we looked harder for that information and knowledge. And I grew up in Gulfport, and your cousin was right down the street, and he ends up putting me up on all these different things. And one of them was Seven Bomar, Black Panther. Of course, I saw him on Sinetta when Sinetta was still, you know what I'm saying, Sinetta. And I saw Seven Bomar and Black Panther, and that really changed my life. He broke down the Overmind and everything else, because we're seeing these things, you having dreams, you having all these visions, and then he broke it down what's all this was really about. So I really got a respect for Seven Bomar, whereas you're more of a people's person, like you're for the people. Same energy. When people came online, they all had their mission to go out there and teach it. You had some that did the Jonah thing and tried to hide. You had some of them to try to capitalize on it, and then you had some to just say, fuck it, I'll do my job. And Seven Bomar does an amazing job. Yourself does an amazing job. Mo God, the Mo Show said, salute Chief Rod and Risha Stone, the most loved and hated. Rod always connecting major dots for the Ohm. So I say, you ain't lying. The most they show behave. Yes, my mama's son in the middle. I say is on Tisha in Nigeria, Africa, and Arisha connected. I don't want to talk on that. I'm not sure if I'm not even saying the word correctly. My connection to the Orisha isn't through Africa. My connection through the Orisha through Mississippi, through New Orleans. Like that's how I met the Orisha. So I'm not all the way connected with everything in Africa. For me, the Orisha are a universal construct. You ain't civilized when you're a child and land is being exploited for monetary value. I say, higher the vibration, less there will be. Many can survive the altitude, divine. I'm trying to be. If I'm missing anything, if I'm missing something, it's a lot of people. It's more than I thought, man. It's a lot of people hitting y'all up, man. Check the ride. Yo, please like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff. Show Rod some love. His Cash App is pinned at the top. Feathers up to the tribe. Feathers up, most definitely. Rod, I live in Arizona. I want to make contact, Chief. I moved from Benton, Harbor, Michigan, I believe that is.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that now I'm caught up. Question, please say, y'all most definitely, please say if there is a connection between New Orleans, Gold Line, and the Lions Gate. Wow, that might be a good one. Did you hear me, G?
Mm-hmm. I'm looking at the question. I don't even know how to address that because New Orleans is so powerful, and we didn't open so many gates from the NO over the millennia that any portal connection that's happening in the stars, in the alignment of the stars, is New Orleans always gonna have a permanent opening to using that energy from ancestral priming of the location. Right? So you got so many people that in opened and closed gates use the gates to perform rituals and whatnot, that the energy automatically opens up around that time for the use of the energy because of years of use in the area. It's the frequency is like the lightning. Lightning takes the path of least resistance, right? water takes the path of least resistance. The only reason that the earth doesn't take the path of least resistance is because it's the resistance. But even fire is always rising to the vent, right? So it's following a least resistance path, right? So when you enclose fire, you create something called backdraft that keeps the circulation of the air burning the fire. So the fire is rising up to the rising energy because it's easier to rise that way. So ether permeates all things. It's like sweat seeping out of your pores, right? If the exit is available, the sweat can use it, right? So it's the same way with nature. Nature uses the path of least resistance, and by continuously using something, you open it up again and again and again. Then this is called priming a location. That's what all the mounds is all over the land, right? They pre-primed locations that's supposed to have an energetic effect based on the movement of the stars. There's certain ones call people at certain times, whether they know it or they don't know it, they end up there, right? Now, a lot of time we are moving a neighborhood and feel so comfortable and so at home, but we don't even know it's built on top of a mountain.
Oh, do I tell it? Yo, another good question, Dark Soul. He said, "Can you explain the Weird Jaguar?" And I thought that was funny because one of the cards I pulled was this Jaguar card. And you know, for the Z people, or what we would call the Omeg, the Jaguar represents growth. It says maturity is the ability to embrace change, and change cannot happen without death. The death does not necessarily mean physical death, but could be the ending of a relationship, a situation, simply your decision to not continue with the same old habits. But also, I would go one further. When you're talking about the rare jaguar, you're talking about a specific area in South America that's on a lot of plant medicine, DMT, Shanga, etc. And when you do those things, if you ever do shrooms or any of those things, you can tap into the frequency and the elements around you. That's how you can talk to the feminine. That's how you so that's how everybody knows that everything is a feminine energy, because the trees are a feminine energy, the sky is a feminine energy. Everything talks to you. When you see that bright light, you're gonna hear a woman's voice. Likewise, when you're on shrooms and stuff like that, you can literally shapeshift your body into different things. Haru, hawk deities, serpent deities, and the jaguar is the ruling entity of that area. So you would tap into that energy, the jaguar energy, and yeah, they could take it to a whole nother level, but it's a spiritual rank. And it goes way deeper than anything we can break down. But yeah, look into, if you want to know about the Were Jaguar, look into the OMEC. Look into the OMEC and understand how deep that goes. What you got on the Were Jaguar, OG?
The jaguar, the spotted cat, is the first totem of the ancient priests. I don't care what part of the planet you go to, when you pull up a picture of an indigenous priest, he gonna have what look like leopard print on him. This was a telltale sign that this is not the soldier, this is not the government, this is the priesthood. The black jaguar, we call it the Black Panther, right? Black Panther just means black cat. But in Mississippi culture, the Black Panther is a family of priests that use stealth means to discover problems, solutions, and sources, right? The Black Panther is a black leopard if it's from the Americas, and most of the time, I mean, black jaguar, and most of the time, if it's in Africa, it's a black leopard, right? But if you got a black lion, it's also a Black Panther. If you got a black tiger, it's also a Black Panther, right? So, Pantera, Panther, Pangea are all related in the original order of the priests. right? So this is why we used to be able to take an African priest from Africa, a Hindu priest from India, an old shaman from Japan, bring them all to America, and they can't speak the same language, but they can speak the same spirituality using the symbols, right? Because the symbols carry more information than words alone can carry. So this is part of the old totem magic and totem science of the totem animals. They call them spirit animals today because they don't want you to connect the totem poles of the indigenous tribes to the oldest system of magic on the planet.
I see. I see. Uh, Goddess, I believe, Sly Astute. I might be pronouncing that wrong. How does the Lion Gate energy of 808 play into the organic people becoming more aware of who they are? What practices were done this time?
Look, any of this magic shit, portals, any of that is only going to have the effect according to the efforts being put forth by the individual. If the individual ain't put no preparations into using the energy, then the energy gonna bypass. They're not prepared to work with the energy, so the energy is not gonna work with them. And that go for any other portal gates opening. But when you understand what's going on with the portal gate opening and how your ancestors use it, you more likely to utilize the energy than if you had no knowledge of that history. Right? So now, because you got the blood, the potential for the prime location of the self is there, but the activation not present because you haven't done any practice. Right? Michael Jordan didn't become Michael Jordan without going to practice. Sorry to tell you, it's not gonna never happen.
I like how you said that, OG, because sometimes people don't realize, even if you missed it this year, you like the Lionsgate portal isn't just one day, it's pretty much the whole month. And the funny thing about it is if you miss it this year, you can catch it next year. But if you do catch it this year, like I was talking about plant medicine, DMT and everything else, and you catch the sun coming up on the horizon and you stare into the sun, you literally can stare into the sun and see portals. You can communicate. It's doing something like Morse code almost. It's not Morse code, but the way it's the reflecting light. Somebody said earlier about the reflection. That's all communication. They're reflecting it to you, and they're sending information through light. You see what I'm saying? So you can have certain stones that communicate back to them as well. So when you're on plant medicine, you're thinking real hard, focusing real hard on you're tapped in to the frequency of the sun already. That's already an energy. If you get up, as soon as the sun gets up, right? And you might be able to do it tomorrow as well, because like I said, tonight's a full moon, tomorrow's a full moon. So it's like that energy is just real great for a manifestation. And people always think manifestation equals money. And I've been guilty of doing the same thing. And you'll get money. But then next year you'll be like, nah, man, like I got all that bullshit. Like, what do we need now? And the biggest thing we can do is, like I say, I'm glad we're having this conversation on Lionsgate Portal, because the first thing we need to do is manifest this matriarch, get in his right position. If everything gets him to his right position by nature, you know what I'm saying? So
I always say, if you put the right people in the places they belong, in other words, if you get the right people, they stuff back, then the machine gonna run the way it's supposed to run.
I say,
If it's not supposed to run that way, we gonna know in short order because it's gonna immediately start crumbling. But if you put it in the order that it's supposed to run in, it'll self-correct all of the little menial problems that we have from day to day. They'll self-correct.
man, I know y'all gonna give us some love and give us some likes, comments, and shares, because I'm trying to answer all y'all questions. They study coming. I want to make contact because I want to know why I moved here, Chief. I want to head to the Grand Canyon in Sedona. I want to understand my journey.
That's for you. That's what your journey for. You on the journey already. That means you already following some kind of map or path. If you following the path, you know that you got to have a destination if you're going somewhere. You got to periodically stop and take inventory of what have you just learned, because that's going to be on your next test. When life get hard, that's when you're going through the test of everything you learned during the practice phase when it was easy. The problem with the test is everything on the test was in the practice, right? But everything in the practice is not going to be on the test. The test is going to condense the most difficult lessons over the particular period in order to force you to use it to see if you understand it. The spirit is not going to reveal to you your ability and you not prepared to receive it. You have to prepare yourself to receive your communication with spirit. And once you prepare yourself, you don't have to ask nobody nothing else. You already know everything. But you don't believe you when you tell you the answer, so you got to go get a reference. But once you understand how to question you're not allowed to lie to yourself. That's why as soon as you tell yourself that lie, you knew you was lying. Soon as you told yourself that lie and made that lie up to tell somebody else, you knew you was lying. You can't lie to yourself. You can trick yourself into believing the lie until it becomes a reality because you can't lie to yourself. So if you believe it hard enough, long enough, it becomes a reality. Right? Yeah. You can't get a faculty you're not prepared to control. You can't get a psychic ability and it's going to scare the shit out of you. The universe don't work like that. You got to be ready to receive what the universe have to give, and you're the only one that can really truly prepare you for it. You can listen to 400 Rod Hayes lectures, 500,000 Malachi lectures, 250,000 Elijah Muhammad lectures. In the end of the day, how much of it is even relevant to you? If it can't be internalized and personalized, and it had nothing to do with you, for somebody else. Move on to what you can use. And the more you use what you're given, that means that you've learned to understand how to control it. The more control you develop of it. It's the same way with Michael Jordan when he was 13 years old as a basketball player compared to 33 years old. If he wasn't playing in the NBA against the best of the best of the best of the best, then he would never got that good because this competition wouldn't have been good enough to push him to that level. Your greatness is not determined by how many times that you avoided a fight. It's how many times did you get back up when somebody knocked your ass down and didn't back down. You only as good as your best competition.
I see.
And when you realize that the greatest of all competition is the self, that's when you start doing your shadow work. And that's when life get real. Life in the fast lane at that point for real.
I see. Yo, man, it's so many amazing questions. This is why I say, man, I love your channel. Whatever channel you be on, you don't get the dumb comments. You get some very powerful comments. Clarissa, maybe, Claudette. But how do the vampires and casket girls from France play into an attack on the true spiritual force in New Orleans as well? I don't know if you know what she means.
I'm trying to find it now.
Man, I'm looking at this is 9:30. 9:30. I'm waiting to catch up with that one because, like I said, so many of them. And it's a lot of amazing ones. If I don't get to them this time, my apologies. Put it in the comments on the post, and then we'll try to get back to them if it's really that serious for you. But I'm trying to get to them all as possible tonight, man. We gotta appreciate Rod. He ain't gonna be doing this long. He get tired of doing this all the time. especially with energy vampires that want to take from him and don't give back. The people that, you know what I'm saying, get on here and say this ignorant, crazy stuff when this man don't do nothing but give out good information. He ain't got none of the crazy scandals that a lot of other people got going on. You got to show him love. Like, I know this man for a minute. You still don't see the question that I was asking you?
I haven't seen it, but it disappeared.
It said, but how do vampires and the casket girls from France play into an attack on the true spiritual force in New Orleans as well?
The first ones that came to New Orleans wasn't no pale-faced Frenchmen. Those were called Huguenots. And those people use conjure magic to fight conjure wars with the priests. Well, they didn't do too good. So they tried to rely on the bloody warfare. But they came in sucking blood. And they was tricking people using sleight of hand techniques to trick people out of belongings and stuff. So this is where a lot of the modern day con games came from. But those were Huguenots, is the term they was using as a secret society. They was from France. They was the same as conquistadors that was from Spain. They just was from France instead. And it was the gents or gentry out of England that was also instrumental. They brought the science of John Dee over here that he gave to Queen Elizabeth. So all of those were part of the conjure wars that was being fought contemporary with the military warfare on the ground.
Jaguar Grace, they just had a comment. The mountains here in Tampa at Bay Shore. Thank you for that key. Free gem right there. The mountains here in Tampa at Bay Shore kept calling me there after a few visits. I noticed the safe houses along Bay Shore. It's so many damn secrets. Chicago, for your eyes only. Chicago, the Bud, Billy.
That's a parade they do every year in Chicago down what's called King Drive now.
Yeah. It's tomorrow.
They do the Bud Billiken parade. I think she said the governor is going to be out there.
Yep, that what you just said. Governor JB. They say you're gonna be. Are they talking about you, Chief Pontiac, and Governor JB will be in attendance? I receive a.
No. They was telling me that governor gonna be in attendance.
Got you. If you ain't got power to fight, power, look at the Indians. They own reservations. They got all the spiritual shit too. But the white man controlling everything, and the black people still wish you don't know. If that's how you feel, like if you ain't paying attention to the news are already telling you, like a lot of stuff is already telling you we already won. I don't know what you're talking about Indians and reservations and all that, because last I checked, those Indians and reservations being kicked out, spiritual system being returned to the indigenous people on the land and the matriarch. So if that's where reality you live, not my reality. I intend to make myself a walking billboard for free Larry Hoover. Ashe. Free the chiefs of the land.
I hope that's all you see when you go through that parade on both sides of the street. Every step, you can't get away from free Larry Hoover posters.
I'm not quite sure what you're saying, Yin Yang Princess. That's why I didn't say it last time, and I don't wanna misunderstand you. Property Point, largest mound, and they place Catholic graveyards on top of them. Yeah, down here, fam, used on top of the largest mound in Tallahassee, but the largest mound in Florida is Turkey Scratch. But they do put they put all sorts of stuff on the mounds, but that just helps you still. If you know where it's at, you still can go and like tap into that energy. Ain't nothing stopping you. I figure, child. Salutes. Appreciate all the comments, man. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and ask this question. They asked it like 5 times. Yin Yang Princess, Rod mentioned the video of the African slave market where the white man did not go to Arisha Stone play it. I'm not sure they keep saying the same thing.
Okay, look, I was on Unscrambled Minds the other day, and one of the sisters played a video after she heard me tell her that the European, pale-faced European, was Johnny come lately to the slave trade, right? Slave trade was pretty much over when pale-faces got involved. And before that, it was people that looked like us, them Tipper Tib Negroes. Look up Tipper Tib, you will understand what I'm talking about. Those was your slave traders. He was the premier slave trader of record as being the most prolific slave trader ever recorded, right? So when I told her that the European wasn't the main ones trading in human capital, she said, wait a minute, I got a video to show you. And she pulled the video up, and the African dude is giving the history of the slave trade in Ghana at one of what's they call the slave depots where they transport the slaves out to be. And he said by the time the pale-faced European came, the slave trade was abolished. And he was like, no European ever came to Africa and took no people out of there.
Okay, I hope that answered that question. Real quick, I already know your agent page. You want to call yourself side hoe, but just to throw it out there, since you put it out there,
If somebody call themselves side hoe, don't dignify nothing they say with a response.
Because they say all you people still believe in all snake or bullshit. What do you people be saying? Clearly, you're not from around here, but none of us is blaming nothing on nobody. We doing our own thing. This is guys and goddesses over here building our own thing. On a Friday night with this 808 portal, you could be doing anything in the universe, and yet you're here. So clearly, the brother's saying something right. So we know your agent. We know it's a fake page. Cut it out, man. Stop it. Like, what they call them, tethers. Let me see.
Not just a regular side hoe either. Side hoe number 3. That means there's 2 side hoes before that one.
I've been watching it for a minute. I'm like, I was ignoring you, but you put so much energy into this. So like, whatever. How do we proceed to reclaim our tribal lands and territories? Do we use fucking paperwork? I'm sorry, but fucking paperwork. He said, do we use paperwork or tradition? And I'll let you answer, but in short,
fuck that. I've answered that question so many times. I keep saying the same thing. Oh, the answer not gonna change. The answer not gonna change.
The answer is not gonna change.
They're not gonna keep repeating it.
It's already been done. Like I said, when I call out those matriarchs, look up who they are. Look up what they're talking about, because all you gotta do is get information.
There's so many sisters, matriarchs, that's putting work in across the land.
And when they pop up, they're not on the internet. Well, some of them are, but some of them ain't. When they do pop out, just
most of them not.
Most of them not. Shout out Mama Kali. Remember that name. Shout out Mama Kali. Most definitely remember that name. Shout out Boomy. They most definitely get the lands back, and they doing it through tradition. Chief Night Crave. Chief Rod Hayes, tell the haters, picture me rolling in my 500 Benz. I got no love for you niggas. There's no need to be friends, I say.
Yep. Don't forget the next part. They got me under surveillance. I swear they be telling. It's dope being sold, but I ain't the one selling.
The connecting dots. That's why I said even the comment section, you bring intelligent minds, even the comment section hard. They said, for your eyes only, Nipsey Hussle is also a Sun Leo life path number 1. We are a certain universe frequency code map. I say.
I wonder if he kept popping up on my page today.
So what you say, Chief?
I said, no wonder his energy kept popping up on my page today.
Man, it's so many comments, man. I appreciate y'all, man, for showing up and supporting. Like we made a whole live just off the comments. Appreciate everybody. If I miss anybody, man, my apologies. Rob, man, what else? What other comments you got for the people, real quick? And for all the haters that made it this far, got you. Made you look. What you got for him, Chief?
Hold on, I'm reading the comment right now.
Yes, sir. It's so many of them.
Yeah, I was reading Kenethius Whitley comment, and he asking about the deep, cold, spiritual sense of the people in the Ohio Valley, especially Kentucky. I'm not talking about history books or surface culture, but he concur. I'm not sure what he's asking me, and but that's the comment I was reading.
Yeah. Somebody said vampires are real. Don't let them in your house. Man, we already let them in the culture. Y'all don't know vampire. Y'all saw one like in your face. You looking at the bare minimum stuff, but the vampires is already in the culture. You talking about let them in the house. They already in your speakers. Boom. Yeah, I don't know that. I believe Hollywood swarm vampires most definitely. Yeah, man. They just enjoying your energy, Chief. Right at this point, I see now a lot of them just like they just want to talk to you and everything and appreciate your energy. Um, man, shout out to all the matriarchs, all the warriors standing on that matriarch line. I don't want to just hold you, just be talking. Anything that you want to address to the tribe, Chief?
Nothing in particular. You know me. I didn't have nothing to say when you asked me to come.
Man, listen. But you said so much and you put us on so much game and everything else, like each one teach one, and it's building, like I said, we build a network. That's the most important thing. People talking about followers and people worshiping you because they don't know what a network is, but the whole time they were designed to keep the network from coming together the way you're putting it together. So we appreciate you, Chief, like for real, for real.
Can't nobody stop what's coming.
They can't stop what's coming, like dead serious, man.
And anybody that decide that they want to hate on Rod Hayes, let them. Because when the reality smack them in their face and they find, and I don't have to tell them who I am. Government gonna tell them who I am.
And look, they ain't paying attention. Clearly, they're not paying attention because a lot of the so-called, how do you hate now in this day and age when you've been doing this for years? And in years, right now in the news, they're getting rid of these tribes. And right now in the news, you heard about the Creeks, the Creek Nation, calling themselves want to be friends with black people now.
Well, you got more than one Creek Nation. First of all, some of them have another name attached to Creek, but I don't understand that because the original Creek, Muskogee Creek, them was us. So anybody that don't look like us calling themselves Creek is an interloper or a hybrid.
They said somebody, bro said, do you know anything about Sanford? Yeah, I mess with Sanford hard, man. Sanford is amazing. Sanford ain't nothing but Orlando, man. I don't even remember when they came out with that whole Sanford name, but that's all Indian. That's all Indian indigenous grounds. Like, you know where the springs is.
Everywhere they step is tribal land.
Especially in Florida.
They know, especially nowhere. Everywhere they step over here, tribal land. Can't get away from it. It's all tribal land. And it got nothing to do with no corporations called governments. They all fallacies. So when you get to the real stuff, you're going to take it back to us. Right? And it's a group of us that we don't see that's writing the restructuring of how it's supposed to roll out as part of the continuity of government team. They giving orders to the white hats. They the ones telling the white hat what we got to do next. Some tribes, some of the tribes look like us. Some of them look like El Chapo. Some of them look like Che Guevara. But them tribal leaders down there in Raven Rock, that's where they at, Colorado, continuity government team, right? That's not NORAD. It's not Area 51. It's the military capital of the land, not DC. DC had to be reverse engineered in order to expose the fraud to the people. The problem is more people believe the fraud is legitimate than the ones that can see through the BS of the fraud. And that's what the slowdown is on the turnaround. It's not enough people that can see through the fraud for themselves, even if they hear other people talking about it. They believe more in the fraud. They believe in their patriotic duty, right? All that stuff is a rework of tribal philosophy that kept the unity among tribes. Now it's used to divide the tribes by putting it in somebody else's control. The United States never had nothing to do with the people, especially the original people of the land. They was always interlopers. They came here and used force to impose their will upon unarmed people with arms, guns, on people that didn't have guns. And they still was getting slaughtered by people that don't got guns. They got so good that the people that didn't have guns started reverse engineering the guns they brought and started making them better. They got us thinking that the first major automatic weapon was a Gatling gun. He stole that from one of them brothers down there in the South. See, every time we build something, make something, invent something, they put a different face and rebrand it as if they created it first.
Board.
Right? They came over here with muskets. We taught them how to make shells. Let that sink in. They came over here muzzle loading. We taught them how to make bullets. Because they didn't know what they was doing. But we forget all of this stuff and go right past us. They had muskets, but they didn't have bullets. But then they come over here, we reverse engineer their guns. All of a sudden, now they got bullets. Because while we was reverse engineering their guns, this sucker that looked like me married to my big mama is relaying the message back through the Masonic Lodge. They done took the musket and turned it into something called a rifle that's got an enclosed shooting mechanism called a bullet. Send me the blueprint. Let me see if it worked. I got to take this down to the patent office, son, so we can make sure we get paid for our intellectual property. Patent office, huh? Now they come in with massive amounts of guns with bullets because we tried to get a patent on what we was doing.
Yo, I'm reading our comments. Somebody said, I'm not sure if this means anything to you. 1767, Baker's Rebellion.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with that?
Yeah. Baker's Rebellion. I don't remember the background of it right now because that part of the history is not at the forefront of my mind right now. But Baker's Rebellion is a prominent historical event in American history. And you can look it up.
I wrote it down. I'm going to do some research on it. Everybody's asking about the mothership. Ask right about the mothership that they're talking about. I probably already talked about that earlier, but I'm seeing that comment a lot. So if you want to speak on that more and more.
No, I don't understand about it. When they get here, let them get here.
We'll talk about it shortly. It's going to be here 2 months. So
okay, well, listen. When they get here, they'll be here. Whoever they is, wherever they coming from. Right? So if I tell you who they is and I tell you where they coming from, it's not going to change the fact you can't do nothing about it till they get here. And you probably won't be able to do anything about it then. But we can do something about is watching out for our kids and our families so we can slow these child traffickers down. We can focus that energy, take our children out of this public indoctrination camp called school. We can control that. You don't want to hear about that. You want to hear about the sci-fi part of reality.
Escapism.
We come pulling up in the ship. Look, if they ask you to get on that ship talking about you going home with me and you go, When you come back in your next life, you could tell me what it was like to be dinner. I'm not being no fool for no Anuna gods.
I'm checking out any info on Seminole County, Sanford, Florida Indians. Appreciate y'all. Hey, did you listen? Oh, my bad. Let me read this. Devin Air L said any information on Seminole County, Sanford, Florida Indians. Appreciate y'all guys. Yo, man, that's like it's so much deep information. I just did a live with Camorio, and he puts out so much good information on Florida and archives and everything else. You really got to look into the archives and make sure ain't nobody got an agenda against you when you listen to this information. But did you listen to that song I sent you about Kissimmee River?
Yeah, I remember.
The Kissimmee River, and that's all they talk about is the Dragon Kings down there, or they call themselves the Dragon Kings, all the way up to North Florida with the Chief Centuriwa and the Timucua tribes. Everybody be talking about Seminole, but they weren't calling themselves Seminole. They probably call themselves, especially around Seminole County and Sanford, probably.
Well, you got to remember, it was the outsiders that called them Seminoles.
Like that's more Yamasee territory.
That was there. They was named by outsiders. That's an exonym. When we was calling ourselves, we was calling us because the war defense team was drawn together by a Gullah Geechee Big Mama out of the Carolinas. She recognized the patterns of their movement and said it was going to be a problem. We're going to need all hands on deck. If you look at the migration pattern of the tribes, they're going to start off going from north to south, west to east. Because we was all going to Florida to fight in what was then by us referred to as the Gullah Wars. We know about Gullah Geechee. We don't talk about the Getty Geechee and the Giddy Geechee, which is two other tribes that was kindred tribes to the Gullah Geechee. Just as big, just as prominent. Now they all call Gullah Geechee together. Right? And some of them have a stronghold in Louisiana. The old Geechee, Uncle Geechee Dan. They telling you who your people is. Right? So when we refer to those wars, who's ever writing the history, you know from which perspective they telling the story. If they call them the Gullah Wars, they describing the great native resistance to the incursion of the Spanish after the discovery doctrine was given to them by the Pope. They became, because the Pope gave them a line of demarcation, how much of America they could annex. And the center point was the Mississippi River. The northern point was something like the 45th parallel, right? Everything east of that would be considered fair game for Spanish conquest. The people didn't agree, so they fought them. And the main ground zero of the battleground is the Orlando area. The O tells you that it's the center point, the bullseye, right? Orlando means Orland. Or means original, as in or energy. So the original landowners is from Orlando. Then you have sacred burial grounds all throughout the Everglades. And one of them, they came with a financial spell called that creature from Jekyll Island. All this was to attack us on multiple fronts. They couldn't figure out how to stop us from making money, so they wanted to control the money. And they had to do that because the wealthiest tribal chief burial sites was in what we call today Jekyll Island. Why do they call it Jekyll Island?
I got the book in there. They're talking about the monster, but they were really talking about the government and the system and within itself. Let me go get the book real quick. It's crazy. I found the book after we did everything up there, but it's also on ancient Timucua territory where they literally have giants there. You can still see the giant skulls. It's ceremonial. It was ancient and ceremonial way before they knew anything about it. But they built their covenant on top of that to start the money and fiat. Let me go grab this book real quick.
Let me look at the comments and see if I can answer the question before you get back.
My bad, Chief. It's funny you asked that, man, because I'm in the market one day and I see this book. And they break it all the way down, kind of like the Wizard of Oz almost. But they break it down. It makes so much sense to what everything you've been telling me for the last couple of years. It was the financial system. The Rockefeller and all them, they were doing. Look, this little book gets deep, man. Like, yeah, this explains a whole lot. But what you were going with it, Chief?
Okay, look. It's predicated up on Dr. Jekyll, right? And Mr. Hyde. Mr. Hyde is the one that got something to hide. And Dr. Jekyll is the secret that he's concealing. You got it?
Mm-hmm.
So the Jekyll Island is the island of Dr. Moreau. Why is that important? The island of Dr. Moreau tells the story of the creation of various different cross-species hybrid animals that's been genetically manipulated. But that's not the part that it's referring to. The name Moreau literally is French, translates into English as Moor. So now they telling us the people behind the scenes that's pulling the strings is the dirty Moors. People hear me roast the dirty Moors, but they don't know who the righteous Moors is because they don't understand the Moorish parable of the sardine. All sardines are not the same fish. But they packed in the can as if they was the same.
Yeah, man. Somebody gave a big shout out to you. I can't pronounce your name. Arkansas Natural on Laws Mofo. Chief, you helped so many freaking people, me included. Love you, brother. I gotta give you a shout out, man. I said the same thing. They stole all 5 names of the tribes. Yeah, man. Chief Muskogee Creek, yeah. Why do we have so many cultural holdovers from Africa? Why did the elders in the 80s call us back? I went and they told us the stories the forefathers told them. Clicor tribe, Ghana apologized. I'm not sure what they're asking you.
That's not a question, it's a statement.
Got you.
But look, the people who controls the narrative don't just got people in America. They don't just got people in Europe. They got them in Asia. They got them in India. They got them in what's now today the Middle East, a newly discovered part of the planet we never knew was a middle to the east. Africa. They also have the ones who keep that narrative alive for financial gain, because the misery described becomes a compelling emotional lure to draw people who were told they was from somewhere else, that they came from Africa. So you want to see with your own eyes what my people went through to take me out of Africa. This is a business model used in a war effort. It's just like the video we talked about earlier, where the brother said no pale faces ever had no slaves, was never taking slaves out of Africa. That's not what they told us over here. But now you have the curator of the place where the so-called slaves supposed to be being shipped from, saying that it was some dark-skinned, woolly-haired people doing this. It wasn't no pale faces. The pale faces is Johnny come lately to this whole conflict. They don't start getting here to the late 1600s in trickles. But we already been fighting since 1492. They document the first arrival of pale faces as the Mayflower in 1619. No. Well, who was these people we've been fighting from 1492 to 1619 then? Think about it. If these the first pale-faced Europeans to come over here with the Mayflower, the Santa, the Nina, the Pinta, the whatever, who was we fighting for that whole almost 100 and something years from 1492?
I was got some more.
1619.
The Moors?
The Dirty Moors.
Hmm.
Right? So somebody said all the wars was Indian wars. They wasn't. You had other people in our land fighting each other about how they was dividing our land up. That had started happening with your colonial period. You got foreigners over here fighting bloody war in the streets or on the dirt road back then, in the villages, about how they gonna divide up they spoils of war, which is the resources of the land that we already been living on since the beginning of time. And then they made agreements among themselves, and then they tried to make us abide by the agreements that they made among themselves that had nothing to do with us. We came in with a Continental Congress. What they do? Had a constitutional convention to change it. We ain't tell you to change our stuff. Well, they wasn't changing it. What they was doing was 3-card money. They was flipping the deck. They was taking the card, putting it on top, telling you it's the other card, and you was believing it's the card that you play, and it ain't got nothing to do with you. We had the Hadassah Treaty, Iroquois Confederacy. That's documented when they came. We was already doing this stuff. They understanding of what they call democracy today is predicated upon tribal structure of the Americas. Nobody had that over there. You gotta remember, they grew up as vassals. They lived in the village at the pleasure of the king. He could come in at any given time and wipe your whole family out because he feel like it over there. We didn't do that over here. They can come grab all of the boys in the village from 7 to up, men and boys, and go send them off to war. And y'all don't have no say. Over here, if the chief ain't going to war, the tribe ain't going to war. That's just as simple as that. But if the chief at war Not only is the other tribes going to be ready for war, the other chiefs is going to be like, why is that chief fighting a war? Let's go help him. Because whoever it is, we know for him to be the chief, he had to be the most loved, most respected. That means he got to be the one you can talk to in a time of crisis. So he shouldn't be fighting. So since he's fighting, I think I need to go investigate. Some of them will send out a scout chief. Go find out what's going on with that village over there. Sometimes they go see him direct. Right? You gotta remember, in Chicago, before the COINTELPRO intervention, Larry Hoover could pick up the phone and call Jeff Ford. Larry Hoover could pick up the phone and call David Barksdale. Larry Hoover could pick up the phone and call Mickey Cogwell. Right? And the list goes on and on. He could call Fred Hampton Sr. Just pick up the phone. Because they communicated like that because it was for community development. And if it wasn't for the infiltration of the government through COINTELPRO, then they wouldn't have never stopped us from just restoring the proper balance, even under their system. They never wanted us to restore the balance. Because then our children, which is us that's growing up now, the Gen X, the way we grew up, right? We not going to tolerate what my parents tolerated. And if we know this is ours and we know all we got to do is speak up about it, we don't even like talking. But we talking like a mug about this. We ain't shutting up. I'm not shutting up. I'm telling you, we organic original from the land, Mississippi clay dirt walking. We sprung from this mofo like trees. We've been here since before here was here because it wasn't here till we built it. That's how long we've been here.
I see.
And I ain't going to stop telling the people until they click.
Somebody said Israel lyrics, Aboriginal is a taboo term in the West. It is. I mean, Dr. Deprevere already broke down the terminology of Aboriginal. We don't call ourselves Aboriginal. You call yourself Indigenous.
Ab is Kemetic for heart, or is root energy. The suffix is to tie the two together.
Yeah, I have a mound not far from me. If you do live by the mounds, yeah, go to the mounds, meditate. Today would have been a perfect day, or any day like. There's always something going on in the universe. So
it's gonna be strongest from today to the 17th.
Yeah, if they're talking about the mounds where they're at, if you're close to the mounds, go give an offering. Sometimes that offering might be a couple drops of your blood, so you can connect back to the land.
So going through the portal, the most powerful part. Today is 8/8, right? 8/17 is 8/8. So you can see that the portal is flipping at 8/17.
Somebody said, Rob, please tell me if you know anything about blue power.
It depends on what they're making reference to. I'm GD, so to me, that's the power. And all of the Crips agree with me, and we ain't from the same tribe, so I don't know what you mean by blue power, but yeah, I got you.
Yo, I just got to tap. Okay, Chief, just answer my question. The White Dragon Clan and Princess Elizabeth here in the Philippines. That's crazy because I keep hearing about this White Dragon Clan, and it's that's a lot going on.
That's the lady she asking about. That's the heir of the White Dragon Clan.
I'm writing this stuff down. Respect to the Monte, because it's the story keeps going deeper and deeper and deeper. The great shout out to the respect to the Monte, the great mothers. You still want to take more questions, or how you feeling?
We start wrapping up now.
All right, man. God, man. Hey, man, I appreciate you. We almost got up to 700 at one point. We had 671, man. Please like, comment, share. That'll help us out. That'll keep Rod coming back, man. Rod tomorrow taking a little break. We gotta make him feel wanted. Make him feel wanted.
I'm not taking no break. I'm finna be off social media.
I got you. But we still gonna find ways to support you, man. Like everybody in the chat saying that know that they've been watching you and watching how, and you've been watching us develop and everything else. We appreciate what you do, the connections and everything you make for everybody and helping network, because that network is very powerful. You know what I'm saying? And it's like portal where you have everything in this life and the next that you manifest, that you strive for. You know what I'm saying? So we appreciate you, God. We at 666 right now. You know what I'm saying? Melanin numbers. But we appreciate you. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Appreciate everybody in the group that's talking about unity and manifestation and coming together and working together. Magnetic living, magnetic homes, matriarch, rising as matriarch. Shout out Rising Phoenix Academy. Shout out Raising Phoenix. Shout out Abiki Rule. Shout out Light Feather, Dope Enough, Legacy, Rebel Divine from Atlanta. Anybody, any businesses you want to give a shout out to? Unscrambled Minds, again, Mama Kylie, Sister Myra Moss. Any shout outs you want to give shout out to, Big Dog?
Man, everybody that I love know I love them, so I don't got to give shout outs.
And D said that shit. I love everybody that love me.
Ain't no secret. People, all the people that love me and I love, they know we love each other, so we don't have to give shout outs.
808, man. Shit, if you pass the love, it sounds like you pass the love around in that 808 portal. So if we ain't did nothing else, that was a ritual to send love out, and we're gonna get love back 8 times, you know what I'm saying? 8 times more. So man, appreciate you guys, man.
Watch the portal gates flip. 8-8 today, 8-17 is 8-8, 8-26 is 8-8.
8-17. What's the other one you said? 8-17,
8-26.
8-26. Bet. Portal days. Good looking out. I shall say, man. Appreciate you guys. You always give us keys. Sometimes we got to watch it over and over again to catch up all the information you really just downloaded us with. Man, appreciate you, man. Like 1,000 times. Your cash app's up there. Anything you got going on? Anything you wanna plug in real quick?
No, I ain't got nothing going on right now. I'm just sitting back, chillaxing, plotting my exit from social media.
So listen, we appreciate you. Appreciate the information. You've given the torch to a lot of different people to keep it going for you and keep it. Now we're networked and we plugged in with other people in other worlds that we can connect with and pay attention to until you do decide to come back. So I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? Rocking with me one last time for a little while anyway. We ain't saying it for like forever. We're gonna get you out for the events and stuff. But man, we appreciate you guys, man. Much love, much respect, man.
Appreciate
love.
it,
Peace and blessings to the tribe, man. Peace and blessings to everybody. Peace, God. Appreciation.
Peace. Yeah.
Oh.